Okay, it's 11:05. Let's get started. So this is going to be a interactive session. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to post it in the Q&A, or feel free to just use the chat box if you want to. The chat box is enabled for participants as well. All right, so welcome to the webinar. This is today I'm going to talk about ESM. So how you can, some of you already have JSM, and you've been using it for your IT operations, how you can actually elevate that to the rest of the organization, to enterprise service management. Oh, okay. So March mentioned that. Oh, let me enable chat for everyone. Thank you. Thanks much for letting me know.
Welcome.
So yeah, and not only just how you can elevate JSM to support your your non-IT operations, we're going to also talk about how you can leverage the power of Atlassian Intelligence to do so even more effectively. So a bit about Service Rocket. We have been in the business for over 20 years as an Atlassian partner. So we truly are like in it for the long game. That's why companies keep turning to us again and again to solve their most pressing needs. We help them accelerate their growth and reduce complexity. So when we work with you, we want to partner with you instead of just doing one project and walk away. We want to help you grow. And we have a lot of firsts in terms of the ecosystem. We are the first to sign the partnership agreement. Rob has a very interesting story about how he worked closely with Scott and Mike in the same office before they signed the first reseller agreement, because Rob wanted to sell the Atlassian licenses to Johnson & Johnson, I believe. We have 10 offices worldwide, so we are truly global. Rocketeers collaborate across 5 continents and as many time zones. So, in terms of 24/7 support, you got us. We've got your back, and we follow the sun. So no matter where you are, we will make sure that you never walk alone, almost like the Liverpool anthem. Many of our Rocketeers are certified experts, and we have about 250 Rocketeers worldwide. We are cloud and ITSM specialized, and we have all of the industry standards for security. Our commitment is to be the single most reliable partner in the acceleration of your growth. Okay, so a bit of the agenda today. We'll start off with the current state of ITSM and ESM. So what is ESM? I'll explain what it is and what problems are there that AI can solve in regards to enterprise service management. Then we can look at how we can scale service management with AI using intent flow, chatbots, really cool stuff that you can easily find information, because the problem is right now there's just too many information and we want to get to it really quickly, and that's where AI comes in. We also look at more AI in Atlassian products, such as the issue summary feature. So sometimes you may have a very long-running issue. It's very difficult to pass the issue from one person to another. We can use issue summary. We'll also look at how you can change a very serious response into something empathetic. For example, if you're writing a comment to your customer and you may not feeling your best that day, you can use AI to change the tone. Those kind of stuff that can help you get better customer satisfaction. And we'll end with some Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to pause me at any time, or just put it in the chat. And at the same time, there will be a Q&A session at the end. So a bit about me. I'm Fugi, and I'm a manager in solutions architecture in Service Rocket. I've been in Service Rocket for 13 years already. And throughout that 13 years, I've been working with primarily Atlassian products. I started in Atlassian support. So in the past, if you reach out to Atlassian support, you may have been in contact with me, but that was quite some time ago. Then I moved on to consulting, and now I'm in solutions architecture. In my free time, I like everything outdoors. So climbing, cycling, hiking, all that kind of stuff, which is where I got all of the scars across my body. Those are scars that I can tell stories about. All right. Wait, how do I go to the next slide? Okay, yeah. So we're going to talk about the state of ITSM and ESM. But first up, a poll. Let me know what function are you representing today? I'm going to start the poll right now. The idea is here is I just want to know which function you represent so that I can better tailor the content to suit your needs. All right, so most of you are in enterprise service management. Thank you. All right, cool. You're in the right webinar. It's going to be fun. So let me end the poll and let me go to the next slide. So what is ITSM and ESM? So ESM stands for Enterprise Service Management. So the difference between ITSM and ESM is primarily we are getting the best of ITSM and pulling it into non-IT services. So ITSM, like in terms of ITIL processes, is already very mature. So they have like different modules like incident management, change management, asset management, request management, all of which have very predefined workflows defined by ITIL. And so the great idea that we had is why don't we just pull all of those really good concepts from ITIL and bring it into ESM? And that's what ESM with Jira Service Management is. So in Jira Service Management, some of the predefined workflows for, let's say, human resources, legal marketing, and even customer service is pretty good out of the box. So not many customizations required. And in terms of ESM, I think the most famous one will be onboarding and offboarding requests. I know some of you may be receiving a lot of that, and you are currently managing that within Jira Service Management. And we're going to show you some examples of how to do this effectively throughout the webinar. So yeah, ITSM, ITIL standards, we bring some of it into ESM. So for example, onboarding and offboarding could be examples of request management. So does this sound familiar to you, especially with all of the tools that you currently have to work with? The amount of noise is deafening in ITE right now. So the problem is not that we don't have enough information. There is just too much information scattered across all of your tools. It's difficult for you to find the right things. And this is where AI will come in, and I will show you some examples of how you can leverage AI to fix some of these pain points. Like for example, if you have users that are trying to find out how many leaves they have, or how much per diem can they claim for a travel, it's difficult if they have to dig through Confluence to find it. So that's where AI comes in and gives them the direct answers using chatbots, which I'm going to show. So AI and knowledge base and chatbots is going to solve a lot of these problems. All right, and something that I forgot to mention, you see, the last one, I feel like I'm constantly doing repetitive tasks. This is something that we don't have time to show today, but essentially in JSM right now, you can create projects using AI very easily. You can just type in using natural language, I want a HR project that handles onboarding. And it's going to suggest a project, and it's going to suggest all of the request types that you need. And within the request type, you can say, I need fields, or suggest me fields to capture the onboarding person's information. And it's going to automatically suggest some fields. You just have to approve it, and it will create it in the Jira backend. So the amount of repetitive tasks, the amount of admin work you need to do in Jira Service Management decreases dramatically right now with AI. We don't have time to cover that because a lot of, yeah.
Especially for time, it's very time consuming, those tasks, so very important.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so a lot of what we are focusing today is mostly on the user perspective, how we can ease their consumption of the content. But in the future, we will cover the admin experience, how they can actually use the power of AI to reduce their amount of effort with GSM. All right, good point. So Atlassian's approach to AI is they partner with the best. So I think Apple already partnered with OpenAI, and you see the same thing with Atlassian. So it's powered by OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT and GPT-4o. So it focuses on customer value, and in terms of security, I think this is the top of mind when it comes to AI. A lot of organizations cannot enable AI because they are not sure that all of the data or information that is fed to the AI is coming from them specifically or from other customers, and they're not sure whether their data is used to train other customers' data. So the Atlassian approach is it is sandboxed to your environment. So no data is stored externally and no data is used to train external models. So it focuses on making your work simpler in Jira. So some cool features includes automatically setting up Jira projects that I mentioned just now based on your preference. And also auto JQL. I think for most people, the biggest value of Atlassian AI is they don't have to ever learn JQL anymore because it just comes up with the JQL that you need to search for Jira issues. All right, scaling service management with AI. So I will show you a demo on chatbots and support. While I'm showing you the demo, so a food for thought that you can have while I'm doing that is how will AI impact the business side of teams? So like think about the job functions that you currently do right now. And yeah, figure out how AI can be leveraged to help you accomplish some of these items. So I'm going to go ahead and show the demo. Okay. So this is an example of raising an onboarding request. And you can see here, so this is an integration between Slack and JSM actually. So you type in a phrase like, I have a new joiner soon, and Atlassian Intelligence is going to predict, based on the training phrases, that this is a onboarding request. And you can see here, are you looking for onboarding new joiner? And this is how it confirms. It doesn't assume. It always double checks with you what kind of request you need. And I'm going to show you how you can actually create this at the back end. Unfortunately, this is currently available only on Slack and JSM, but it's coming soon to Microsoft Teams if that's the tool that you use currently. And this helps your user get to the correct answer quickly or help them raise a ticket in the correct channel. Because the other problem that you will face is sometimes there's just so many request types. And it's very difficult for users to find the correct portal or to raise the correct request type. So using this kind of chatbot is going to help them get the answer quickly or to help them raise the request quickly. So over here, you can see when does the employee start, and all of the JSM fields can be predefined in Slack. So they don't actually have to go into JSM to raise the request. Everything is done from Slack. All right, then they submit, and immediately the issue is raised. Yep, and you can see the issue is raised here. Actually, they can just work within Slack to accomplish all of the tasks. So all of the information is going to flow into Slack as well. Yeah, so this is the example of how you can use intents. And I'm going to show you in a short while. The next one is how you can, wait, let me go to the next screen. All right, and this one is the chatbot together with Confluence. So you can see here, one question is, how many leaves can I request for as part of my benefit in EMEA? Usually in the past, when you look for this kind of information, you have to scroll through a huge Confluence page or a Confluence space to look for the information you need. And usually the page is quite long. Using AI, it's able to really summarize all of the contents within that page or within that space, and based on the questions you ask. And this is very easy to set up, by the way. All you need to do is just connect Confluence to JSM and then connect it to Slack. And you can see here, I can just ask all of these questions, and you can see the back end page. It could be a very big page, and then you can have all of these information within that page, and AI is going to summarize based on the question involved. And this one is very easy to set up. You can go ahead and try it out when you go home. All of this functionality. So with their busy schedules, users may not have enough time to read through everything. So this is where using AI, it will get them to the answers really quickly. Okay. Yeah, I probably don't have time to show you how this is configured, but it's very simple. You can see it's just you go to knowledge base configuration in Confluence, make sure it's connected to a Confluence space for that JSM project, and make sure Atlassian Intelligence answers is enabled in the virtual agent configuration, and make sure AI answers is enabled in the request channel as well. That's it. That's the only configuration you need. Very easy to set up. Go ahead and try it after the webinar. Okay, so what I've shown you just now is the virtual agent intent flow and the knowledge base AI functionality. I'm going to show you right now how you can use intent flow, how you can configure intent flow in the backend, and it's very easy. So this one is the configuration is also in the same virtual agent configuration settings in the project settings in JSM. So just navigate there and then go into the virtual agent. And the first thing you'll see is they'll ask you to set up intents. And it may look intimidating, but it's actually very simple. So the first step is always to match the intent. And to match the intent, this is using AI. And you can put in some training phrases in the next step, which I'm going to show shortly. But basically, once it matches the intent, that's where it asks you whether you're asking about onboarding. And it's going to offer you some choices. This is a branching rule. And you can ask whether, do you want to create an onboarding ticket? Do you need the onboarding playbook, or do you need help now? Right? And then based on that response, you can either, if they choose to create onboarding ticket, you can then raise the employee onboarding request. The other one is if they need an onboarding playbook, it doesn't even raise the request, it will send a reply to them. Hey, here's the onboarding playbook, and you can link them to the Confluence space. Sorry, the Confluence page. And then if they need help now, it will immediately raise a request ticket. So then they can start putting in all of their details into the form that you saw just now in Slack, and it will raise a ticket in JSM on their behalf. And this is the kind of training phrases that we used just now. You can just put in as many as you want. The minimum is 3 phrases, and that's it. And AI is smart enough to figure out some of these things. So your users don't have to like figure out which keyword to put in. Just put in all of the training phrases here, and AI will do the rest. All right, and there are more AI in Atlassian products, and we're going to look at them. So this one is an example of issue summarization. So an example is sometimes you may have issues that are super long running. There's been a lot of back and forth that goes on in the tickets, often bouncing across multiple individuals, across different departments and different time zones. So to make it easier for someone to jump in on the ticket when you are transitioning the ticket from one person to another and rapidly get up to speed, you can use the AI-generated case summaries. So with the click of a button, you can get a TLDR, and you can see here, the TLDR here is Arya spilled coffee on a laptop. Omar attempted to resolve by recommending user to dry the laptop. And then the knowledge article have been provided, and Arya mentioned the problem still exists. And another person that is jumping in this case, Eve Lian, will be able to provide additional support quickly based on the summary. So this is great for handovers and for people who are context switching across many tickets. If they handle like 10 tickets in a day, this will be really useful. All right, in the other one is creating responses for customers. Sometimes when you look at an issue, it may be very difficult for you to figure out what's the next step, right? Maybe the ticket is too complicated. Maybe your domain knowledge is not that great on this particular issue. So you can use a brainstorm option, and AI will give you multiple points based on a particular idea that you may have. And what Atlassian Intelligence will do is it will read through the ticket fields, the description and comments, and suggest how you should draft out your points. This is great for someone who sometimes need help to figure out the important points to convey in a response. Okay, and the other one is we can also, oh wait, hold on, let me see. Yeah, so that's the brainstorm. And then the other one is to improve responses. So for example, it may not be it has not been a great day for you. You're feeling a bit tired and you have a customer that is quite upset and, may have escalated. And sometimes your response immediately to that, like one advice I give to support engineers is when you're upset, try not to respond, try to switch on to other happier customers for a while, so that you don't respond with emotions. But right now with AI, it's going to help you in that sense as well. So sometimes you may be upset, you may send in a response that is slightly emotionally serious or negative, and you can use AI to change the tone to empathetic. And that is going to help you with the customer satisfaction scores.
This can also help to improve the standardization of the responses, right?
Yeah. Yep. It can also help the the standardization, right? Especially if you want to keep it professional, you can definitely use that as well. All right. And the other thing is in the past, like the way we search for things have always been keyword based and it's been programmed in our head. So when we go to Google, all we use is just keywords. Sometimes this may not be a good thing because if you don't figure out the right keywords or if the right keyword doesn't exist in the result of the page that you're looking for, then you may not even find the page in the first place. So that's why with AI, you can use language models like standard language. And with large language models, it's going to figure out what you're actually searching for. So with Confluence, the improved search is now with AI, especially if you enable it in your cloud instance. So gone are the days where you have to figure out which keyword to put in the search query. And the other one with Confluence, back when I was in Atlassian support, we cannot close tickets without linking it to an existing KB article, a bug report. Even if we resolve the customer's problem, if there's no existing KB or if there's no existing bug report that is linked to the ticket, we have to write a new knowledge base article. And this can take quite a long time because a KB article you can see is usually 300 characters long. So right now with the power of Atlassian Intelligence, you can easily just type in the request to create some draft content, and it's going to suggest a draft content that you can insert into your page, and it will reduce a lot of time trying to figure out the major points that you need to put into a KB article. So this reduces time, and then you can tweak that later. And then especially if you are in ESM, sometimes you have to write policy documents, or process document, how to request for leaves, how to request for per diem or expenses. You can use the power of AI in Confluence to help you draft all of those points really easily. And I've even tried this with some of the example content, like leave policy, onboarding policy, what information you need to put in using AI, and the content that it gives is already like 90% what I needed in a process or a policy document. Really cool. Do give it a try.
It's a good benefit and gives you time and the energy to focus on what really creates value.
Yeah,
so
and in
awesome
some ways,
feature.
March, I would even say that actually some of the points that AI suggests, I didn't even figure it out. Like when it suggests, you're like, oh wow, interesting. I never thought about that. Yeah.
It's having a whole team backing you up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like March backing me up right now. But of course, March is better than AI. All right. So we don't have that much time in today's webinar to cover all the other cool features. We will have a follow-up ESM webinar next quarter. And this will be on Services for All. It's the same content that we actually presented to one of the Teams Tour event, where we show how you can use JSM to coordinate onboarding processes across all of the different teams easily. So we will demonstrate how you can actually raise the ticket through different platforms. So for example, if you set a termination date within your HR platform, for example, Bamboo HR, if you set the termination date for a user, it's going to automatically create a JSM ticket. And then once it creates a JSM ticket, it will then automatically create the corresponding legal ticket and IT support ticket, like for asset onboarding. And it's going to link all of them together such that you cannot proceed to the next workflow without, let's say, for example, legal approval. All of that will be demonstrated in the next webinar. Very, very cool. So if you have any questions and answers, I'm happy to take them for the next few minutes. But in the meantime, feel free to answer this poll as well. I'm going to start the poll. Okay, let me go back. All right, so would you recommend this webinar?
If you cannot think about a question or if it maybe pops up after this webinar, you can always reach out to us through our website or even through the LinkedIn site. We are happy to answer all your questions and maybe even make a webinar about it.
Yep. Feel free to remember to send in, and especially if all of you that are watching this through YouTube, because this will be recorded and uploaded to the YouTube as well, feel free to put in your comments in the comments down below if you have any questions about any of the content, and if you want to see any additional items that I may not have gone deeper into. If you have questions on that, feel free to add it in the comments down below as well. All right, I think we don't have any questions today, but I'm happy to answer. If you have any, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, like even on my email. Just send me an email if you have any questions. And you have any, if you want us to do any training with you, we also provide consulting support, professional services, managed services. If you want us to manage your environment, we can do that as well. And so do feel free to look at all the other events that is lined up for the next for this quarter and the next quarter. It is all on servicerocket.com/events. And if you want to contact us, the other contact information is also in servicerocket.com/contact us. And as always, we got your back. And thank you for joining today's webinar. It's been fun, and I hope to see you in the next webinar.
Thank you, Figgy.
All right. Thank you, March. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.